We're back, people, and today we're bringing a film on Tyjae Spears, running back out of Tulane. He's been one of the biggest risers so far for this 2023 NFL draft class. His explosiveness, his dynamic playmaking ability just pops out on the tape, and he showed that at the Senior Bowl. He's a threat out of the backfield, can be a nice, solid receiver, and he's just really explosive out of his cuts. His acceleration, make you miss but not slowing down, is super impressive. A lot of times when running backs try to make you miss, give you a cut, they end up slowing down. Spears doesn't slow down at all. He is a little on the shorter size, but he's about 5'9", 205, which is nice if you're a little bit shorter. He has that strength, contact balance to run through some tackles as well, and he's just a guy that can work in multiple different schemes: zone, gap scheme runs, getting him out in space, and he's just going to make many big plays at the next level. Here we got him out of Wildcat right here, and this is just nice patience, allowing his blocks to be set up, runs through an arm tackle, and you can just see how he's very subtle with his movements at times, just slowing down just enough to make people miss, but working off the back of these two pullers right here, stays patient, gets through his hole, allows this guy to kick him out, follows the guy through the hole that takes on this blocker, and then he has to just beat a safety one-on-one right here. Makes him miss very easily, shows off some nice lateral quickness. And then he does this thing where he like high step slot, and he'll give a subtle hesitation right here versus this linebacker. Another one-on-one in space, subtle hesitation to the inside, freezes him, and he's just too explosive to get the outside. He kind of runs with a gallop to him as well. He has to get that extra burst to kick that extra gear. Very explosive player, a lot of play speed, and that's something you definitely look for in a running back. Just a very exciting player to watch. Solid vision here from Spears, finding this cutback lane on his own run. A lot of, like, the first run we saw the gap scheme, following his pullers, nice patience. Here, he's just reading enemy line of scrimmage down. Once he sees everything overflowing here, the leverage, he just sees this cutback lane. He hits it very hard. He has the burst to hit these holes. It's a pretty big lane. I feel like his vision can be inconsistent at times. Sometimes he'll just run to the back of his blockers, but he does usually end up making up for it with his athleticism, his physicality. But still, he runs through another arm tackle, shows off has powerful lower half, like he has some thick legs. Doesn't really get affected here. Usually some guys get tripped up, but he picks him up there, and he still has like the awareness to feel these two defenders, see his eyes, and then bend this back even more, get all the way back to the outside, just maximizing his yardage, and even shows off some contact balance at the end to run through another tackle going out of bounds. This is just, watch the cuts that Spears makes on this play. Finds the hole initially, the burst, make multiple guys miss, and out of his cuts, he's just doesn't slow down the entire time. He's a dynamic accelerator, which you definitely need at this position. But here, working some inside zone, sees this this three-man surface defenders, works off the back, and then once he sees this guard open up, he works the backside, runs through this hole, makes the first linebacker miss in space with a nice cut, maintains acceleration. He has some nice hip fluidity as well, lower body flexion, and he starts chaining these moves together, sees the safety, hard cut, acceleration, just changing up your angles. When you're able to change up your angles like this and not slow down, like, that's so impressive. A lot of guys really slow down, like even this last move here, the way he bends this, it wasn't even like a hard cut, it was just, he kind of stuck the foot in the ground, but like his left foot really pushing off here, the flexion he has right here, but still maintaining his speed, picking up those extra yards. Really nice work there from Spears. Watch Spears right here, running back out of the backfield. Get to see him working on like a wheel route, turns into like a seam. Really impressive stuff, just catches this pretty easily. You saw him do a lot of work at the Senior Bowl catching. He got some natural hands, catches this, and then immediately turns into a runner, runs through one tackle, two tackles. Love the contact balance. When a smaller guy can play with strength and balance like that, it gives me a good feeling that they're going to be okay at the next level, because usually smaller guys that will struggle with the physicality is the reason they don't work out. But Spears, pretty durable and tough at the point of attack, will make some guys miss and will run through tackles. That's a nice combination to have. Spears, really good job working off his blocks here, and another really good job of just bending it back into space to maximize his yardage. But here on the, the power, work off the back of, this tight end pulling through. This guard's kicking out. He stays patient. He just works off, finds the hole the whole time. I feel like he's really comfortable on these gap scheme runs, just working off the back of his blocks. This is what you're doing, just following the back of the blocks, and once you get past it out in space, you just have the freedom to do whatever you want. So he follows the structure of the play, and then now that he has the burst to hit through the hole, the structure, he just sees what's going to open up. A lot of running backs would probably just hit through this hole, but this is going to be taken away by both safeties. You're probably going to get tackled, but he bends this all the way back, gets to the outside, and probably maximized his yardage there, getting a few extra yards than he probably would have if he just hit that initial hole. His game versus USC, he had a lot of explosive runs. Just the burst through the hole, the vision first off. Running some zone here, but they like insert the tight end play side, so he's kind of working off the back of this tight end. These combo block, he's reading this. Linebacker kind of gets sucked inside, he presses this. He's pressing into the hole, but now he's seeing how everything's opening up. He's anticipating where he's going to go. Looks like he would probably try to hit through here, but he just accelerates through the hole, gives a slight nod to make this guy miss here, and he has the burst to get all the way to the outside. He loves to somehow work through the middle to then get to the outside to make these explosive runs. Very unorthodox play style, but I think that makes him very unpredictable and tough to tackle. Another rep here from Spears, working off the back of some gap scheme runs, and it's like not a big run, but this is some nice work. You gotta, like, every big run, you know, is really nice to see, but that's not gonna be the case at the next level. How can you make some people miss? Working off your blocks, everything here is really nice. The way he bends this back, the little counter, working off the back of 84, he sees this linebacker fill this hole, and he's got to make him miss in a tight space. First of all, nice lower body flexion. He gives him a move, makes him miss, and then still is working off the back of his block. He makes him miss in a very tight space, which is very impressive, but still works off the back of his block, runs to the tackle, maximizes the yardage. Like, this should be a play for no gain, because the gap that he's trying to hit here, the linebacker fills instantly, and he has to make a miss, and a very nice run. One of my favorite runs for Spears, even though it's, you know, not one of those big, huge, long runs. It's only like a 6-yard game, but those are the plays that really make or break a running back at the next level. Now, after that play, we get to see Spears just breaking a long one. He's really good off these power counter runs, just falling in the back of his blocks, and when he has a nice size hole, which he does here, he just is slightly patient, allows the block to develop, and once it gets there, he sees the hole and just explodes through. And he is so explosive, he breaks the angle of the safety. The safety is underestimating his speed the whole time, but he can score pretty much anytime he touches the ball because of the combination of acceleration, burst, lateral agility, and then long speed to finish the touchdown runs. Another little check down out of the backfield, getting the ball in the flat, and just making people miss. This is one of the first times we've seen him really stop his momentum. Usually we get to see how explosive he is out of his cuts with his acceleration, but the ability to decelerate completely, stop on a dime, he dips underneath, so great feel instincts of how to make people miss. He dips underneath, and then how quickly out of contact and no momentum, he's not moving at all, he quickly reaccelerates to break the angle. Like from where he is, he's completely stopped. And you know, this is a defensive end, this is a DB, like these guys have the momentum, they're full speed. Spears is taking one step and he's gone. Like, that reacceleration, so impressive. Get down. I think he might have stepped out at like the 1, but that was super impressive how quickly he was able to reaccelerate. Here we get a nice little touchdown run down in the red zone from Spears, making people miss in tight space, running through some tackles. We can see it better from this angle right here, working on some inside zone, just reading this combo to the linebacker. He presses up, sees this guy fill his gap, and he gives him a hard stab to the inside, makes him miss. Those lateral explosive cuts, look how explosive he is here laterally to make this guy miss. It's super impressive how far he jumps to the left. Very difficult to tackle when he does that. Then runs through another tackle, then runs through that carries the other guy into the end zone. Very impressive play for a smaller back. Love the power that he brings and contact balance. This is actually the last play that I was going to break down. Just a very fun player to watch. That explosiveness really pops up off the tape. He did it against top teams. He did it against middle of the pack teams. He did it against bad teams. Whichever team was put in front of him, he was making big time plays. I expect him to probably go second, third round because he's a little undersized from a, you know, not the biggest school. Running backs typically don't, a lot of running backs don't go first round anyways, unless you're, you know, Bijan Robinson, who's an absolute freak of nature. But yeah, so I expect him to be like a day 2 pick, and I think whatever team's going to get him is going to get a nice value as well. He's a guy that, you know, I think you can rely on to get like 15 touches. Probably won't be a super workhorse, but there's not many of those guys left in the NFL. It's not really what you want anyways. You're just relying on one back. I feel like a lot of the successful teams, they have a main guy who will get like 55-60% of the touches, but they also have a solid number 2, even a number 3 getting a few touches here and there. So, big fan of Tyjae Spears. Going to be a solid player at the next level, in my opinion. He can play in any scheme as well as zone, gap scheme runs. Get a little mix of it. It makes it a lot more difficult to stop when you're mixing up your scheme there, especially your run concepts. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.